Live from the IRC television studios on the SUNY Oneonta campus, this is Oneonta News Now. I'm Caitlin Hort.
And I'm Vincent Cataldo.
Before we start the news, meteorologist Matthew Miles joins us with a look at the Oneonta weather cam.
Thanks, Caitlin. Well, we've had a bit of a rainy situation going on. I'll let you know how long that's going to last after the break. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Matt. Coming up next, we have your campus and local news. Stay tuned to Oneonta News Now.
The It's On Us Pledge is a personal commitment to help keep men and women safe from sexual assault.
It is a promise to not be a bystander to the problem,
but to be a part of the solution.
As a SUNY Oneonta student athlete, I am proud to take the pledge. I pledge
to help keep men and women safe from sexual assault.
I promise
not to be a bystander to the problem,
but a part of the solution.
I pledge to recognize
that non-consensual sex is sexual assault.
To identify situations
in which sexual assault may occur.
To intervene
in situations where consent cannot or has not been given.
To create an environment
in which sexual assault is unacceptable and survivors are supported.
Join us and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
I pledge to help stop sexual assault.
For local news, a man was arrested for stealing more than $11.8 million from elderly clients' trusts. Thomas Lagan, 60, faces federal indictments for money laundering and filing false tax returns, which allege that he conspired with lawyer and former Guilderland judge Richard J. Sherwood from November 2011 to February 2018. Lagan is also accused of failing to report more than $5.3 million in income to the IRS in 2013 and 2015. In a separate indictment, Lagan is charged in Albany County Court with grand larceny in the first degree, criminal possession of stolen property, and a scheme to defraud. If convicted, the federal charges Lagan would face up to 20 years of post-imprisonment supervised release.
Michelle Frazier, Common Council member representing the 1st Ward, was canvassing constituents Friday and will continue this weekend. She isn't campaigning for election. Frazier said she will talk with residents about an ongoing construction project, which officials said has grown bigger than expected and caused frustration and upset among residents as street and driveway access has been limited, among other issues. Originally, the project was to have been smaller, Frazier said Friday. But as the city worked toward sidewalk and curbing goals as part of the Complete Streets program, she said construction has become more involved, more disruptive, and taken longer.
Police searched Friday for suspects who witnesses said opened fire on dozens of people gathered for a memorial service outside a Syracuse home, wounding an 8-year-old girl and 4 other people. All 5 victims were in stable condition at Upstate University Hospital and were expected to survive after being shot about 9 p.m. Thursday, Syracuse Police Chief Frank Fowler said the victims range in ages 8 to 35. Neighbors told police that about 50 people had gathered outside a house to commemorate a man who recently died of cancer. Tammy Jameson said she and the others ran into the home for cover when the gunfire erupted.
Renovation of SUNY Oneonta S. James M. Milne Library is officially complete 4 months ahead of schedule. The $8 million renovation project has enhanced study and research areas in both number and quality. Bright open spaces, modern seating and light fixtures, and pops of teal and yellow make the library a space in which students want to spend time. Nearly every seat and desk area now has direct access to an electrical outlet so students can easily plug in their phones and laptops. Expanded Wi-Fi access coverage reaches deep into the building. Colorful alcoves with comfortable seating, soundproofing panels, and glass writing boards make this an ideal space for students to work efficiently.
Thanks, Vincent. We have your entertainment news when we come back. Stay tuned to Oneonta News Now.
Found their way out of
Getting closer closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
We're back with your entertainment news update with Natalie Costanza and Felicia Lewis. What's going on this week in entertainment, ladies?
There are a ton of great things happening on campus this week. This weekend is set to be magical at SUNY Oneonta. Students will join the Students' Activities Council on a bus trip to New York City to see the Broadway musical Anastasia. Students will be told the story of an orphan named Anya who tried to trace back her family roots while getting involved with con artists. This wonderful and dramatic tale will be told to the students with all of the Broadway magic needed in the most incredible city. After the show, students will be able to explore the city before heading back to campus. Tickets are available at the Hunt Union Information Desk for $60. The trip is this Saturday, September 29th from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. This Friday, September 28th at 11 a.m., 8 students will be recognized for their outstanding artwork. Their artwork will be acknowledged by being awarded the Jean Parrish Memorial Scholarship. Tyler Burke, Henry Feist, Sarah Lapel, Christian Lorenzo, Teresa Memel, Danielle Thomas, Anna Vanderpool, and Chao Zhang all excel in visual arts and represent a variety of skill sets. Students' work are currently on display in the Project Space Gallery in the Fine Arts Building. The scholarship is funded through a generous estate gift of Jean Parrish, Faculty Emerita in Art, to the SUNY Oneonta Scholarship Foundation. Come to the gallery this Friday to celebrate the great work of our students.
Serena Williams is thankful for Meghan Markle. Both women are royals in their own right, but at the end of this day, these two women are really just best friends. During an interview with The Project, Williams opens up about how much of a positive force the Duchess of Sussex has been in her life and vice versa. The Grand Slam champion said, quote, "We were actually just texting each other this morning. One time in particular, Williams relied on her royal friend was after her loss at the 2018 U.S. Open. In a stunning defeat, Williams lost to 20-year-old Naomi Osaka, but before that got into a heated argument with the court's umpire. She accused Ramos of, quote, stealing a point from her and called out sexism on the tennis court, citing the men get away with more rigorous behavior and don't get punished. Williams and Markle have been supporting each other on both sides of the Atlantic. In 2014, Markle cheered on her new friend at the U.S. Open Championships, where Williams won yet another title. Not long after, the Duchess of Sussex rooted Williams on at Wimbledon in England, and it wasn't long after their initial encounter that Markle dubbed Williams on one of her closest friends. Needless to say, both Williams and Markle are paving the way for women around the world and proving that friendship can span across continents. Dolce & Gabbana retraced their DNA by bringing back some of their most famous models. In the brand's bid for inclusion, they sent grandmothers with granddaughters, husbands and wives, lesbian couples, and curvy models, including Ashley Graham. Cardi B kept a careful eye on the collection from her front row seat, taking off her animal skin-covered D&G sunglasses to take in the steady stream of flash. Her eyes stayed glued to an embroidered shawl jacket with a miniskirt, mouthing a sassy shoulder shake and saying, "I like that." The elaborate collection by displayed Dolce & Gabbana designers unraveled aptitude for over-the-top looks with a something for everyone range. There were pretty layered floral dresses with jeweled sandals, bejeweled biker jackets with tuxedo tails, raw jute fabrics and fringed day suits, and tier dresses in sparkly organza. While the collection incorporated the duo's well-known motifs, including prints of the Madonna Sicilian references, there was also a point message on one netted top to underline the commitment to craftsmanship.
That's all for our entertainment news. Back to you, Caitlin.
Thanks for joining us, Natalie and Felicia. We have your national news coming up, so stay tuned to ONN.
All right, good stuff. And we'll be back after this quick commercial break.
All right, good stuff, guys. We got 30 seconds. We'll come back and we'll talk about basketball, right?
Sure. It's been horrible lately.
Yeah. All right.
Always coming for us.
All right. Let's dump out and we'll come back in 5, 4, 3, 2, take 2, cue talent.
Yeah, I don't think his mic's working.
Should we go fix that?
Nah. Let's leave it. We're good. This is Sideliners.
After an agonizing week of ravaging floods, rising rivers, power outages, and dozens of deaths, the Florence-weary Carolinas are facing the possibility of more flooding over the weekend. At least 44 people have died since the hurricane slammed the coast last week. While the rain has subsided, some rivers are still rising, and North and South Carolina officials warn the flooding danger is far from over.
A man in Anchorage, Alaska, pleaded guilty to assaulting a woman who said he strangled her unconscious and sexually assaulted her. Then he left the courthouse with no prison sentence. Prosecutor Andrew Grant said in court on Wednesday, quote, "But I would like the gentleman to be on notice that this is his one pass. It's not really a pass, but given the conduct, one might consider that it is." Justin Snyder, 34, was accused of kidnapping and assaulting a woman on August 15, 2017, strangling her until she lost consciousness and then masturbating on her. According to court documents, Snyder was charged with 4 felonies, including kidnapping and assault. He pleaded guilty to a single felony assault charge in the second degree in exchange for a sentence with 2 years with 1 suspended plus 3 years probation. Snyder received credit for the time served while wearing an ankle monitor and living with his wife and 2 children. Although Snyder has reported he is grateful for this process, there has been no report on how this traumatic event, followed by lack of justice, has impacted the victim.
A temporary Rite Aid distribution center employee in Harford County fatally shot 3 co-workers and injured 3 others before killing herself on Thursday morning. Police identified the shooter as 26-year-old Sonochia Mosley, who lived in the White Marsh neighborhood of Baltimore County. Mosley's first victim was identified as 45-year-old Sunday Aguda. Mosley shot him in the parking lot around 9 a.m. The shooter then pulled a hooded shirt over her head, went inside the distribution center, and fired at least a dozen rounds from her registered 9mm Glock handgun, killing 41-year-old Brindra Giri and 21-year-old Haleen Reyes. Mosley also injured 3 men, Hassan Mitchell, Wilfredo Villegas, and Perna Achira, before shooting herself in the head twice before police arrived. Harford County Sheriff Jeffrey Galler said Mosley's relatives and friends told authorities that she had been becoming more and more agitated in the last couple of weeks, although they did not report any concerns to law enforcement. After searching her home, the sheriff said deputies found evidence Mosley was suffering from a mental illness, but did not reveal what they found or what condition Mosley had. Her motives are still being investigated.
A Maine lobster pound is hoping to make their cooking process more humane by getting some of its lobsters high before cooking them. Charlotte's legendary lobster pound in Southwest Harbor, owned by Charlotte Gill, is hoping to give lobsters a painless, stress-free death by sedating them with marijuana before boiling them. Jill, a registered marijuana caregiver, first experimented with this idea by putting a lobster into a box with a few inches of water and then chain-linked marijuana smoke through a tube into the box. The lobster was kept in the smoke-filled box for 3 minutes. Gill claimed that the lobster was calmer for the next 3 weeks with no flailing legs or attempts to pinch anyone. Staff members tested their urine after eating the marijuana-treated lobsters and no trace of the drug was found. Gill hopes the tests will prove to the state that the lobsters were not absorbing the marijuana. Despite Gill's hopes to continue this process, however, Maine's health inspectors, quote, would treat food served to customers at licensed eating places and affected by marijuana, as had been described with this establishment, as adulterated and therefore illegal.
Thanks, Kaylin. When we come back, our meteorologist will take a look at your 5-day weather forecast. Stay with us.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Bye, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to Oneonta News Now. Let's find out what the weather has in store for us this week with our handy-dandy meteorologist, Matthew Miles.
Well, we got, drugged lobsters and all that going on. We got Serena Williams, and now we got weather. What a combination. Well, as we can see, we got our outdoor shot of Holbert Hall in the background. Nice sunset for the fall here. Coming up in, actually it just passed, so September 21st was fall, the beginning of fall, and our temperatures are starting to feel a little like it. We got 62 as our current conditions with rain throughout the day. We have about a 20% chance of lingering showers into the overnight before getting into tomorrow, but we have a southerly wind of 6 miles per hour, which is what's bringing us that, more warmer temperature. 60 is about normal for this time of year, 60s and 50s. So as we look into tonight, it's only going to drop to about 59 degrees. So if you are going out tonight or you're going, the Mills Market or whatnot, it'll be a nice night as it's going to be partly cloudy. So you're going to avoid most of the rain. You're going to have some warmer conditions, and you're going to get a nice pizza or something from Mills Market. I don't know. So you got a southwest wind of about 6 to 11 miles per hour. Chance of rain from about 1 a.m. on. Hopefully nobody's up at that time, but if you are, be on the lookout. As we look into tomorrow, though, we have a high of around 71 degrees. Great. But the issue is we have a chance of showers 50 to 80% throughout the day. Into the afternoon is when it's projected to pick up at after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Look for showers and a chance for even thunderstorms. No, that's not some airplane or helicopter driving by. It is thunder in the fall. It does happen. And the wind speed from the north at about 5 to 8 miles per hour. As we look into our northeast temps for tomorrow, we got Bing at 72 because they think they're better than us because we're at 71. Albany 76, Saranac at 72, Watertown at 68, and then out towards UB 70, Jamestown 73, and down in New York City 81, and then on the island is about 78. They have chances of rain throughout the day as well. This is a frontal system that is coming through into the night. As for tomorrow night, we'll see some breaks and clearings, and we'll get some partly cloudy skies by about 10 p.m. with a low of about 51 degrees. And we got 5 to 7 miles per hour wind speed, so a nice cool night tomorrow night if you are going out for a ladies' night Wednesday night. So if you are going out, don't need to bundle up too much. In terms of your week 5-day outlook, yeah, the graphics weren't working right, but the gist is Wednesday into Thursday there's a chance of rain, and then Friday into the weekend it starts to warm up again, and overnight looking in the 50s and 60s. But those are the numbers we want to see for this time of year. That's all I got for you guys for this week. Back to you, Caitlin.
Thank you. In international news, in a chance event, a new sphinx was discovered in Egypt. The newly uncovered sandstone statue, believed to be more than 2,000 years old, was revealed during work to lower the groundwater level in an ancient temple. Egypt's Ministry of Antiques said on its Facebook page that the Sphinx was found on the southeastern side of Kom Ombo Temple near the southern city of Aswan. Images released by the ministry show a classic Sphinx with the body of a lion and the head of a human, wearing a snake crown and a headdress. The statue appears to be mostly intact. More excavations are expected to take place around the temple to try to learn more about the Sphinx, according to the ministry. Sphinxes are reoccurring creatures in the mythologies of ancient Egyptian, Persian, and Greek cultures and are often found near tombs or religious buildings.
A dozen crew members on a Swiss cargo ship have been taken hostage after the vessel was attacked by pirates off the coast of Nigeria. According to the company that owns the ship, Masol Shipping said in a statement Sunday that the ship, the MV Glarus, was attacked early Saturday while sailing from Lagos to Port Harcourt with a shipment of wheat. The pirates reportedly struck about 45 nautical miles southwest of Bonny Island. It is understood that the pirate gang boarded the Glarus by means of long ladders and cut the razor wire on deck to gain access to the vessel and eventually the bridge, Masol Shipping said.
A summit meeting held on Wednesday with North and South Korean leaders resulted in an agreement to pursue a joint bid to host the 2032 Summer Olympics. Few details were released about the proposal. Issues such as which countries would host which events and how the closed society of North Korea might handle an influx of international athletes, fans, and news media were left undetermined. Last week, South Korea's sports minister Do Jong-hwan raised the prospect to a joint bid, saying it's a proposal of hosting the events in Seoul and Pyongyang. The Pyeongchang Winter Olympics showed the Olympic values very well. I hope peace in Northeast Asia can continue through sports. While the International Olympic Committee is years away from picking a host for the 2032 Games, the mere idea that Koreans might bid together suggested that the Olympics remain a powerful incentive to keep the countries which are technically at war more than 6 decades on from the Korean War talking about peace.
Dozens of passengers on a Jet Airways flight from Mumbai to Jaipur were injured after their plane lost cabin pressure on Thursday. The flight, which made an emergency landing back in Mumbai only 45 minutes after it departed, depressurized due to a flight crew's failure to flip a switch. Passengers were left bleeding into oxygen masks and nearly losing consciousness. One passenger, Satish Nair, who was on a business trip, said he felt stinging in his ears only a couple minutes after takeoff. Brushing the feeling off as a common cold, Nair was reading a newspaper when he noticed that the oxygen around him grew increasingly thinner. As oxygen masks dropped from the ceiling, other passengers began to wake, some dizzy and some bleeding out of their noses and ears. The flight crew had not made any announcements or indicated that anything was wrong, despite the obvious distress the passengers were in, and the oxygen mask dropping from the ceiling. About 15 minutes into the flight, a flight attendant finally instructed over the loudspeaker for everyone to put on their oxygen mask. According to India's Ministry of Civil Aviation, 30 passengers had bled from their ears or noses, and some also suffered headaches. Passengers were given medical attention once the plane returned to the terminal. 5 were taken to a hospital and later released.
Thanks, Vincent. Stay tuned to ONN for your weekly sports update with your boy, Jarrett.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Welcome back to Oneonta News Now. So, Jarrett, what's going on this week in sports?
Well, Caitlin and Vincent, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to sports, so let's get right to it. For some campus sports news, the SUNY Oneonta women's soccer team dropped a pair of matches this weekend on the road to open its SUNY Athletic Conference schedule. The Red Dragons fell to both Buffalo State and Fredonia via shutouts to fall to 2-5 overall. Despite outshooting the Blue Devils today, Oneonta couldn't push one past the keeper and fell 2-0. The Red Dragons held a decided 15-6 advantage in shots, including 7 on frame. A pair of freshmen accounted for both goals for the host. Haley Elsley scored in the 26th minute and Karen Johnson scored at the 77-minute mark. A third freshman, Abby Monahan, made seven saves for her first shutout. On Friday against Buffalo State, the two teams battled pretty evenly, except for the one goal for the Bengals. The shots were even at 8 apiece, but a goal in the 7th minute of the match proved to be the only difference. The women will continue to be on the road next weekend when they travel to Cortland and Oswego for back-to-back SUNY Athletic Conference contests on Friday and Saturday. The SUNY Oneonta men's soccer team played its SUNY Athletic Conference opener today at home versus Buffalo State and came away with a hard-fought 1-0 shutout. Senior Nicholas Giordano picked up his second shutout of the season as the Red Dragons upped its record to 4-2 overall. The loss for the Bengals dropped them to 5-2 overall. Statistically, Oneonta held a slight 13-11 shot advantage, including a 10-6 bulge in the second half where they carried most of the play. After a scoreless first half of play, Oneonta finally broke through in the 60th minute of the match. The play was created in the box and sent to junior Whitman Hernandez, who sent a pass to freshman Ryan Catalano. Catalano finished off the play with a shot along the ground that went under the diving keeper from Buffalo. The Bengals had one last shot in the final 30 seconds, but Giordano was up to the task, cradling it as time ran down. The Red Dragons saw victory once again on Saturday right here on campus with a 5-1 takeover against Fredonia. That's it for your campus sports report. Here's what's going on outside of Oneonta. The Buffalo Bills shocked the world in a 6-win over the Minnesota Vikings. The Bills traveled to Minnesota as a huge underdog and proceeded to kill the Vikings. The Bills' defense stopped Kirk Cousins through 2 quarters, sacking him not once, not twice, but 3 times. Josh Allen played like his hair was on fire early. Hetty plays throwing darts and using his quick feet to stop the Vikings' defense. First the Jets, and now the Bills. What is going on? The Yankees have clinched the playoffs after a walk-off win in the 11th inning. The Yankees are heading back to the playoffs. Aaron Hicks hit a line drive double in the 11th inning to drive Didi Gregorius into home plate, beating the Orioles 2 on Saturday at Yankee Stadium. Aaron Hicks said, "It's awesome. That's the whole point of spring training, is to get to this point in the year where you're fighting for something and you get yourself in the postseason," end quote. That's what we're here for, scoring from first base on Hicks' double. Gregorius slid home head first. After crossing home plate, the Yankees spilled out of the dugout. The Yankees are going to use their final regular season games to prepare for October 3rd, where they will play the Asteroids, who will hold the second wild card spot. And that's it for your weekly sports report. Back to you at the news desk.
Thanks, Jarrett. Join us again next week for your up-to-date news, sports, weather, and more. I'm Vincent Cataldo.
And I'm Caitlin Horrit. This is Oneonta News Now. Have a great night.